All right, it looks like a lot of you are in here, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started, and folks can join as they can, no issue. So thank you to all of you for coming to the first Green Chemistry Commitment informational session. We're really excited to see all of you. I'm personally very excited to meet all of you because I think I've only maybe met a couple of you before in person. So it's going to be really great to kind of learn from you and connect with you throughout the session today. I just wanted to take a second to introduce myself. My name is Nimrit. I am a higher education program manager with Beyond Benign. And today I'm going to be kind of leading you through the majority of the Green Chemistry Commitment info session. I'm the one that's been sending you a lot of the emails. We do have Dr. Amy Cannon, who's our exec director, on the line here too, and you may have seen a lot of emails from her too. But I'm going to hand it off to Natalie to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. Dr. Natalie O'Neill, tuning in from Vermont. I'm thrilled to have you online today and to talk to you about our Green Chemistry Commitment Program. And I will hand it over to Juliana to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. I'm really excited to meet all of you. My name is Juliana. I am here in Montreal. The weather is not good, but I'm really excited to see all of you and learn from all of you. So thank you very much.
And I'm going to actually hand it quickly back off to Natalie to start us off with an introduction.
Wonderful. Thanks, Nim. So I think if you're here today, I don't need to reiterate this too much, but what we do want to highlight is that the need for green chemistry education is a call that we are hearing from industries. And so looking at industries and their sustainability goals, then there's no way that they can hit those goals if the next generation of employees coming in have the skills in order to be able to address sustainability in the career path that they're going into. So we hear this call from industry for this need for green chemistry education. You can see the logos here in terms of these are big organizations that are drumming this need. Nim, if you head over to the next page, we can talk about why is this need. It's because we really are identifying these sustainability goals and the fact that chemistry is going to be essential in this. We all maybe are chemists here on the line, so you understand that the molecules and the things around us every day, if we think about that on our sustainability journey and we apply sustainability there, that impact is exponential over time. So this growth is something that is coming also from the demand of society. Consumers want to have these products around them every day that are safe for the environment and their human health. So there's an impact in the fact that this demand is driving up the job growth. So there's here on this slide, you can see there's a projected growth in jobs that are specifically for chemists that have these green chemistry skills. So we often hear from faculty members, why would I want to change my training? Why do I want to do these things? And it's because the job market is going to be demanding them in the future, and setting up your students to be in this place for this demand is what they're looking for in terms of their education. If you head over to the next slide, Nim, I will say Beyond Benign is one of the ways that we can do this. So I hand it off back to you, Nim, to talk about Beyond Benign.
Perfect. Thank you. Yes, so Beyond Benign was first started in 2007. It is a nonprofit organization, and it was co-founded by Dr. John Warner, who's the co-founder of the field of green chemistry, and Dr. Amy Cannon, who we're really excited to have on the line here today, who holds the world's first green chemistry PhD. And you can see that we regularly collaborate with industry partners and universities and NGOs across the globe, and really kind of thinking about education in terms of a very collaborative, innovative way, and not so much in a kind of more narrow way. So the way that we kind of think about this is that we want to work across the education continuum to foster transformative change in STEM education. So we do have a K-12 division in Beyond Benign, where really we want to kind of inspire future chemists and educate these kind of future consumers and citizens. Throughout this track, we do seek to empower educators to transform chemistry education, recognizing that you are the people kind of on the ground actually doing this work. And really, we see ourselves as kind of the facilitators, and how can we make it easier for you to do this work? kind of moving along that track, we have out of school programs that we can help to support. And then today, kind of what we're going to be talking about is more of the higher education division, where we're thinking about, okay, how can students who are learning chemistry or more specialized science kind of get that education about sustainability, about green chemistry, all the way through to grad school, and then also to the workforce as well. These are kind of the pillars of what makes up Beyond Benign, thinking about investing our time and our money into educators, thinking about developing tools and resources for educators to use to do this work, peer support networks to help educators like you connect with one another, learn from one another, and share the strategies that have worked for you to implement green chemistry into whatever kind of science you're doing, thinking about strategic partnerships to help us kind of achieve those goals, and then also instilling diversity, equity, belonging, and respect, which we call DEBR, throughout all of those activities and programs that we do to help support educators. And all of that should help us to really kind of achieve these goals of increasing the awareness of green chemistry, the belief, the understanding, the confidence for educators to teach green chemistry is a big one. And then finally, kind of the integration of green chemistry into classrooms, labs, campuses. And the reason that we really like to focus on you as the educator is because you have tremendous impact. So kind of going back to the slides that Natalie was talking about at the beginning of this presentation, just one educator can have a tremendous impact on from the students that you're teaching, whatever careers they go on to have after they've left your class, and the skills and the knowledge that they're able to bring with them, and the impact that they have in their future careers, whether or not they're chemists or scientists. That knowledge of green chemistry, of sustainability is extremely applicable, and is really nice to see that even just as one educator, you can have this trickle down impact on the broader society. So that's why we really kind of like to engage with you and see how much we can support you. One of the ways in which we can do this, and kind of the main focus of our info session today, is through our Green Chemistry Commitment Program. And so this program was really designed to kind of unite the green chemistry community across the globe through educators, and thinking about kind of shared goals and a common vision through these green chemistry commitment student learning objectives. So what this is that it's a program that any institution can sign onto. And just by doing so, you commit to integrating green chemistry throughout your chemistry courses. One thing that I really want to emphasize is that you don't have to be doing like a lot to sign the commitment. If you are just getting started, if it's really even just like a thought or an idea or a goal that you want, by signing this commitment, the reason we call it a commitment is because it's also a commitment on our side to help support you through this process too, no matter what stage of the green chemistry journey you're in. And so kind of the 4 main student learning objectives that the program revolves around are theory, so learning the green chemistry principles. Students are going to learn kind of those basics. Lab skills, so being able to practice green chemistry skills in an applied setting. Toxicology, thinking about what makes a molecule hazardous, and how can we design molecules right from the beginning that are inherently safer and inherently less hazardous to humans and to the environment. And then application, how do we apply all this knowledge that we've learned to our future careers, whatever it is that we want to do. And so these kind of 4 pillars of this program are the places where we really are prioritizing our support for you. So, and it's really exciting. We actually just passed 100 signers recently, and every day we keep having more trickling in. So actually we had to update this slide this morning because we had another signer from Brazil. But we do have 103 signers globally, the majority of whom are in North America, but also on every other single continent that does have schools on it. And if you do want to learn more about the program, you can follow those links at the bottom of the slides, and these slides will be made available for all of you afterwards as well. So the people who are really kind of helping us to think about the program directives, directions, and how to better support educators are the GCC advisory board members. These folks have been involved with Beyond Benign for a long time, and it's really great to benefit from their expertise. Most of them have actually been implementing green chemistry into wherever they are in their careers. And so it's really nice to kind of learn from them in that way. So I wanted to highlight all these wonderful people that help us. One thing I did want to touch on too is that from the green chemistry commitment program slide, you saw that quite a few of those student learning objectives revolve around integrating resources and kind of curriculum-based activities into your classes. And so one of the big things that Beyond Benign does is that we do have a repository of green chemistry resources that are open access and are free to access for anybody around the world that you can use in your classes and you can modify these resources however you want, but just know that these are there for you to use regardless of whether or not you're a signer as well. So you can just go to our website and find these resources there. And some of the more recent ones that have been released, one of the big ones to help support that pillar of toxicology for chemists in the green chemistry commitment is our toxicology for chemists curriculum. And so this curriculum has about 36 hours of content for educators to use to kind of teach intro level chemistry students the basic principles of toxicology. So you can just log on, or sorry, not log on. You can just go to our website and find that there. We also have an organic chemistry lab guide to help integrate green chemistry into specifically organic chemistry laboratory experiments. And we have an upcoming guide for inorganic and general chemistry laboratory experiments as well. So please stay tuned for that one. In terms of the commitment and what happens after you sign and some of the feedback that we have received from signers, this data is from some data that we gathered, or sorry, rather these statistics are from some data that we gathered in the summer with our signers and about 95 signers. What we see is that over 70% of the folks at GCC signing institutions have made significant changes in their teaching and practice at their institutions. Over 50% have downloaded green chemistry resources. 50% are attending green chemistry events regularly that we host, and that's specifically for that really kind of like emphasis on networking and connections with one another. And 36% feel that they're active green chemistry leaders. So presenting at conferences on green chemistry educational work, being journal article authors, etc. So this kind of shows you a little bit about the type of support that we can help you with through this program. I just wanted to take a second as well to highlight our signers. So I'm not going to go through this entire list, but currently we have 77 signers in the US. And I think the majority of you today are from the US as well. And then we also have 25 international signers too. And you can see the different countries and continents here that folks belong to as well. So it's really nice to see that this is global and to have that network stretch kind of across the world and to be able to connect with one another no matter where we're coming from. In terms of, excuse me, in terms of what GCC signers are up to and maybe wanting to know a little bit more about how they're integrating green chemistry into their departments, we do have some case studies that we conducted of GCC signers, which are available to read on our website too. So the link is at the bottom of the slide there. But what we really wanted to do is that we wanted to talk to our signers who have a range of institutional sizes. So smaller institutions versus larger institutions as well, kind of polling them and asking them about the way that they do green chemistry at their institutions and how they feel that they can share this with the community. And so you can go onto our website and you can read everything that these folks have to say. So hopefully there's something there for everybody, no matter what kind of institution you're coming from. One thing that I did want to mention, which is a goal of ours through the Green Chemistry Commitment Program, is what we call our 25 by 25 initiative. And so our goal is to try and ensure that 25% of all US students that are graduating with a chemistry degree have a background in green chemistry by 2025. And so this program is really aimed at getting those students that knowledge and that education that then kind of trickles down no matter what they do with their careers afterwards. And the way we kind of think about that is providing that support through our green chemistry commitment program. And that's kind of how we get to those numbers too. So this initiative was launched in January 2021. We're thinking about what are the US signers that we have to kind of help us calculate those numbers. And we're currently at 77 US signers and growing. So that's very tremendously exciting for us. And what we really kind of feel is that the green chemistry community really benefits from all the folks who are doing green chemistry work in the US. And so really kind of this is a nice segue into one thing that I wanted to kind of talk about, which is very exciting for Beyond Benign, is we recognize that minority serving institutions are an extremely critical component of the people in the US who do green chemistry work. And that more of an active push is needed to basically be able for us to benefit from your work in our community. And so we, in order to kind of think about that, have launched a minority serving institution initiative where we are providing dedicated support for those MSIs in the US as part of our kind of 25 by 25 initiative. And that's really, again, to specifically connect with you as educators who are doing this work where we might not have been able to connect with you before. And so there's three kind of objectives in this program. And kind of through those three objectives, the dedicated support that we are providing results in funding, professional development, leadership opportunities, also support for students, which I'll get into in a second, and conference and publication support as well. So in terms of the first program objective, that would be partnering with chemistry departments at MSIs to incorporate green chemistry into teaching and practice. And so what I wanted to do here was really just highlight the minority serving institutions that are already GCC signers with us and that we recognize as for their leadership and their contributions to green chemistry. And also those of you who I know are also doing this work that we would love to have you as part of our community too. And so currently we have 15 minority serving institutions, although the numbers on that might be actually wrong because we need to go back and figure out again which of our other signers are also MSIs and update those lists. So it's probably more than 15. One of the things that is really a priority for us and that we recognize as part of the Green Chemistry Commitment Program is to really try to build inclusive and diverse community spaces that are inclusive of everyone who does green chemistry work, not just, you know, certain institutions or that are maybe bigger or have more money or et cetera, serve only a certain community. So we really want these community spaces to exist for MSI faculty to collaborate, to learn, and to share about the green chemistry that they're doing at their institutions, who often are serving local communities who might have different needs that are not necessarily routinely talked about in other green chemistry events. And so one of the ways that we're doing this is through our green chemistry teaching and learning community online platform. This is a program that is currently underway with the it's in collaboration with the Green Chemistry Commitment Program. Dr. John Moyer, whose face is there on the slide, is actually the Senior Program Manager in charge of the GCTLC. He will be hanging around for the question and answer period at the end of this session. So please feel free to ask him some questions that maybe I can't perhaps answer. But what this is it's a joint initiative between Beyond Benign and the American Chemical Society's Green Chemistry Institute. We are developing an online platform, which is going to be by the community for the community that will have different kind of spaces and functions on it. So we will be hosting resources on this platform. This platform is really, really meant to facilitate that networking and that connection and that engagement between educators at different institutions all across the world. So really, we're trying to make it easier for you all to talk to each other and learn from each other. We can do that through having kind of forums and discussion tools and posting kind of jobs on job boards or maybe connecting to industry for faculty or for students. And then of course that collaboration and mentoring piece too, being able to talk to institutions that have been doing green chemistry for a long time, if maybe you're an institution who's just getting started, for example. And one of the things that's part of our minority serving and institution initiative is that we will have dedicated spaces on that platform specifically for minority serving institutions to engage with one another and kind of collaborate, network, do all the things that you do best and kind of learn from each other there. These are kind of the core values of the GCTLC. I'm not going to go through every single one of them, but I think one of the ones that's most important is really creating that respectful community that does foster a sense of belonging and inclusivity. And that is really kind of a main priority for us, and has been integrated throughout the platform right from the beginning. This is the GCTLC Leadership Committee. So these are the folks who are really kind of directing how the platform is being constructed right now. And it is being actively constructed, which is tremendously exciting. And they're coming from all kind of walks of life. So they're education leaders. Some people are from industry. We have folks from kindergarten to grade 12 spaces and also post-secondary spaces. And there's kind of other professionals too who are not in the traditional academic or industry track who we have really advising us. So we think of this as a very holistic platform that is going to be able to serve everybody, no matter who they are or where they're coming from. One of the kind of exciting things about this project too is that we, right from the beginning, have a diversity, equity, belonging, and respect subcommittee that has integrated these principles throughout the GCTLC online platform prior to its construction. So this is our way of trying to ensure that this platform, the work that gets done, the way that we can network and collaborate and share with one another is as inclusive as possible and does foster that sense of belonging. And so you can see the co-chairs here, the members, and these are actually the first kind of goals that we came up with from our first couple of meetings. And these are really kind of becoming a foundation of this platform. So the reason I'm showing this slide is to kind of let you all know that this is how we approach our work with everything that we do. And this is going to be a core part of the GCTLC. Another way that we're kind of facilitating this networking and collaborations is through these monthly virtual meetings. They are over lunch, so I guess you can kind of munch if you want to do that at the same time. But they are 2-hour virtual meetings. We often have green chemistry leaders as our speakers who are kind of highlighting the work that they're doing at their own institutions from all fields, again, not just academics. We also do have industry professionals who come to speak. And we also have dedicated networking and support spaces. So I mentioned the resources that Beyond Benign offers and hosts on our website. We do have networking rooms where you can chat with Beyond Benign or our community members who actually developed those resources to kind of get more information about how they use those resources, tips and tricks for integrating it into your own courses, thinking about how you can chop and change some of those resources. And there's also dedicated networking and collaboration spaces for all of you to connect with one another and maybe have a chat about how you're integrating green chemistry into your own institutions as well. And so we, again, through these green chemistry connections, do see ourselves as more of the facilitators. How can we make this easier for you to all connect with one another and kind of have that shared sense of community? So our next meeting is on October 19th, and it's going to be about fabulous fabrics, which is in keeping with the ACS National Chemistry Week's theme. And the registration link is just at the bottom of the slide here. But one of the things I wanted to mention is that we are always looking for speakers to share at these virtual meetings. You do not have to be from a GCC signing institution to come, to share, to participate. This is really meant to kind of be a space where you can all kind of chat with one another and learn from one another, regardless of kind of where you're coming from in your green chemistry journey. And so please do email any member of the higher education team if you're interested in being a speaker. And we do have honorariums that are available for your time as well. In case you are kind of thinking about how you can share this with your department as well, we do have a Green Chemistry Connections toolkit This is basically just bite-sized pieces of language that you can quickly copy paste and send off to your folks who are interested in maybe coming to the connections. So please do take a look at those things and download them, and feel free to send them off to whoever you would like, and also kind of to take a read through them for yourselves as well if you're interested. And then the third kind of pillar of this program as well is that we really wanted to provide dedicated support to green chemistry student leaders, and specifically to empower minority student leaders through green chemistry. And so this is kind of a really exciting initiative for us as well, because we recognize that for a lot of green chemistry institutions that are practicing green chemistry, they got into that because the student groups and the advocacy groups kind of push those grassroots efforts onto maybe the faculty or the chairs or the kind of higher up in the department. And so we did want to highlight the work that students are also doing to bring green chemistry to their institutions too. So one of the things that we really want to do is to spotlight the ACS student chapters who have won that Green Chemistry Student Chapter Awards. And these are kind of three award winners who come from MSI institutions and who also happen to be signers with us as well. And so there will be opportunities to kind of hear from them throughout the year about how they brought green chemistry to their institutions, the type of activities that they were doing, and the type of support and the work that they provided as well. One of the kind of key pieces of this is that on our side from Beyond Benign, we really want to provide guidance and support for students to participate to get these ACS Student Chapter Green Chemistry Awards. And so we are, with the generous support of 3M, giving grants to those ACS student chapters who are looking to apply for the Green Chemistry Student Chapter Award. We'll be running a student event on October 27th in the evening, and the registration and meeting details will be to follow, where we outline kind of the structure of that Green Chemistry Student Chapter Award, the types of activities that are needed to obtain the award. You can hear from, actually at that student event, the University of Minnesota Twin Cities, their ACS UMN chapter, who was a previous award winner. And these honorariums that Beyond Benign are granting are up for up to 10 student groups that apply for this award. And the preference for the funding will go to those student groups who have minority members in the majority, or perform outreach activities that serve minority communities as well. And so any student chapter award, any ACS student chapter group is eligible to apply from us for this funding. You don't have to be a green chemistry commitment signer. And so we did want to stress that this is open to everybody. So for those of you who have connections with your ACS student chapters on campus, please do inform them about this award, and we'll be passing along more details afterwards too. I did want to just take a second and hand it over to Natalie to introduce as well another type of award that Beyond Benign is providing for students.
Thanks, Sim. So I'm going to talk about quickly just our Green Chemistry Education Challenge Awards. You may have heard of the Green Chemistry Challenge Awards that the EPA does every year. They're focused on academia and industry as well. So this is our spin on it, and it's really about changing the way that chemistry education is taught on campuses. This work is sponsored by Dow, and the first time that we ran this program was in 2021. So we are opening it up again for 2022. This does require you to be a green chemistry commitment signing institution to apply for this funding. But Nim, if you head over to the next slide, we did give out 3 awards in 2021. So we do have our kind of first round of the grantees that have gone through this and sharing out their work now. So we'll be opening up this application soon. But the 2022 one, in terms of the details, if you head over to the next one, there you go, Nim, is that we are opening them up and focusing a little bit more on that student leaders. What we have seen from our 2021 grantees is that they're utilizing their students to do the work of the curriculum change that they want to get done. Because I'm sure I'm not saying anything to faculty members here, your time is tight. So utilizing students to do that change is something that we have seen the signers do. And so we want to elevate and leverage that in our 2022 awards. And so those again will be open to up to 4 institutions up to $10,000. We will decide the amounts based on what people want to do. But again, it is GCC signers eligible. And this one is a little bit more open in terms of the flexibility of what do you want to do, what works on your campus for that. So I think stay tuned. And if you become a GCC signer, expect that we will be sending those opportunities your way this year.
Thanks, Natalie. One of the things that I did want to talk about just super quickly before we kind of wrap this section up as well is similarly to the Green Chemistry Connection toolkit that we have, which is kind of language and information that you can send around to your departments. We also have one for the Green Chemistry Commitment Program. And so the email journey is an email series that you can sign up for that provides you some information about the Green Chemistry Commitment Program. You will receive 4 emails that are sent automatically to you over 4 days. And so if there are any people who you know, or if you would like to sign up for this to learn more information about the program, please do feel free to share this resource with other folks. And we do have a GCC Signers Toolkit as well for you to share information about the program with other folks who are interested too. So please do share this with your department and your networks and take a look at it yourselves too. One of the things I just wanted to quickly do as well is thank our sponsors. We do receive funding and collaborate with many different institutions, and we are grateful for their support. And so thank you very much to them. And also to kind of reiterate, myself, Natalie, and Juliana make up the higher ed team at Beyond Benign. Please do feel free to email us, or for those of us that are on Twitter, hit us up on Twitter. But any question at all that you have, or if you would like a one-on-one meeting or anything that you would like to kind of chat about, we're always open to that. So please do make use of our email addresses there. And I'll give you just a second to kind of write those down if you want to, but again, these slides will be made available after the meeting. So please do know that all the links, email addresses, etc., will be made available to you. So without further ado, thank you to all of you for listening to kind of the first part of this info session. And hopefully that's kind of maybe filled in some of the blanks for you about the Green Chemistry Commitment Program. If you had any blanks, or if you all know this already, then thank you for coming anyways. It is a huge delight for me to introduce our speaker, our featured speaker today, Dr. Andrea Ashley-Oyewole, who is from Prairie View A&M University. They are a minority serving institution who's also a Green Chemistry Commitment signer. Andrea is really kind of the point person at this institution and was really responsible for the integration of a lot of green chemistry into their chemistry courses. And we really kind of see her as a fantastic green chemistry advocate in general. On that Toxicology for Chemists curriculum, she also acted as a reviewer for the content. And so again, kind of reiterating that the resources that we kind of host on Beyond Benign are really developed by the community and reviewed by the community as well. So these are folks who are the experts we benefit from their knowledge. And Andrea is also the co-chair of the Diversity, Equity, Belonging, and Respect Subcommittee for the GCTLC. And so she's in a really, really great position to be able to speak to you all today about the type of work that she's doing. So without further ado, I will stop screen sharing my slides and I will invite Andrea to screen share hers.
Good morning. Yeah, let me try to pull this up real quick. Trying to put this in presentation mode. Good morning, everybody. While I try to locate this, my computer decided to act very strangely this morning, so I have to use my laptop, but hopefully there. Is everyone able to see my screen now? Fantastic.
Looks great. Yeah.
Thank you. So good morning again, everyone. It's a real sincere pleasure for me to be able to speak to you this morning about the Green Chemistry Commitment and what it has done for our department. We at Prairie View were looking for something to help us to sort of revamp our chemistry program, and we met with the Green Chemistry Commitment in 2020 And at that time, it was the perfect moment for us to implement, because we were looking to change, and it made this a really good opportunity for us. So, so to give you a little bit of background about Prairie View, sorry, I'm trying to get my slides moving here. So again, our Prairie View A&M is located in southeastern part of Texas, and we're part of the Texas A&M system. We're the second oldest institution of higher learning in the state of Texas, next to Texas A&M, and we are about 10,000 student population, and mostly undergraduate programs exist at Prairie View. We have about 4 PhD programs. The Department of Chemistry does not have a PhD program, but we do offer a master's in chemistry with 2 or 3 concentrations in that program. The undergraduate program offers 3 concentrations in traditional biomedical science and in forensics. We're looking to improve that by adding green chemistry as one other concentration and environmental chemistry. So when we signed on to the green chemistry commitment in 2020, it was something that was very, very easy for us. We actually went to a meeting with Dow and the Department of Engineering, and the Department of Chemistry was invited to attend. So after the meeting, after listening to everything that was discussed about the program, we decided to join on, and our department head went ahead and signed all the paperwork. The dean signed on the same day. So it was something that was very quick for us. It didn't take a lot of time. But as time progressed, it's kind of difficult to sort of make changes overnight, but we didn't give up. Right? So we basically started bringing in the green chemistry commitment through the chemistry department. So we were looking for things to accomplish very quickly with very little money or very little help. So there were a few things that we started doing, and we basically started focusing on, I'm sorry, my battery on my computer is going low. Pardon me, everyone. So, okay. So basically, a lot of the work we had to do by ourselves in the Department of Chemistry. And it really wasn't that difficult, because many of the people who were doing research in our department were already working on projects that were looking to be more environmentally friendly by using less toxic chemicals, reducing waste, and all the traditional things that encompass green chemistry. So it wasn't a very difficult idea to sell to people. However, when it came to sort of implementing in our individual programs, that was a little different story. So pretty much I began with my own personal class. And in my department, you didn't really have to have a lot of paperwork to get that done. You basically had some new ideas you wanted to try out with your class, and you were given the freedom to do that. So I was really fortunate in that way to have a department head and dean at the time who were willing to try something new. So that helped a lot. So we began by, after signing the commitment, to basically introduce the idea of green chemistry in our first year classes. So the first thing we had to do was to identify the classes that we wanted to have green chemistry, the transition to begin with. So I started with my first semester general chemistry course. So pretty much I did this by myself. Not a lot of people were on board to making changes right away, but it wasn't a big problem for me, because it was something that I wanted to do anyway. And meeting up with the program made it so much easier, because there was access to all kinds of resources that really we just literally began by introducing the topic with discussion items. So instead of making major changes for the class, what we did was have 10-point assignments as discussion, online discussion boards, where students were given a certain topic related to green chemistry in that general chemistry class. And they were asked to respond to the question and respond to 2 or 3 other people and carry the discussion on. So it literally just meant that green chemistry was introduced in a discussion item. So it wasn't difficult to do. Then the other courses that we wanted to identify, or we managed to identify, was the first year the first semester organic chemistry course. That part has not begun yet, but that's another area where we are looking to add some green chemistry. As far as the labs, we didn't do a whole lot with labs because everything was so new. And 2021 was sort of busy, so we didn't have a lot of time to move into the lab. So it basically meant that we focused on lectures, trying to get students familiar with the language of green chemistry. Then last year, we, with the help of Beyond Benign and Yale, there was one resource that really helped us to create a new class in green chemistry, which we had approved using the syllabus from the green chemistry commitment online resources. We literally just took their syllabus and used pretty much 90% of what was there in our new syllabus when we created the green chemistry course, and that gave us approval within a few weeks. It didn't take very long. We also had a course in cosmetic chemistry, which a lot of the materials also came from one of the GCC signers that sent us some things that they used in their cosmetic chemistry course that we incorporated in ours. So in one semester, we were able to get 2 new classes approved with the addition of the green chemistry principles. Other areas that we're trying to identify included a polymer chemistry course for graduate students, but it's also open to upper level, basically graduating seniors at the undergraduate level are also able to take that course. So we managed, with the help of the GCC and all the resources, the wonderful resources that were available, to get all these classes approved, and we're truly, really happy about that. The other area that we looked for implementing the program was with the chemistry club. That too was not very difficult because I already mentored the chemistry club, so it was something very easy for me to introduce green chemistry to those students. So the plan is to have them help us with the transformation of some of our undergraduate labs by creating new labs or implementing the ones that are already available on the GCC website. So from there, the other thing we did was to try to, in some of the undergraduate courses, to add a few of the green chemistry student learning outcomes. So that's another way that we try to implement the green chemistry transition in our department, was to add some of these syllabi, which I did for one of my courses that was also approved for a second program here on campus called the Be Global program. And it so happens that the Be Global student learning objectives were very similar to some of the ones that the GCC offers for the green chemistry student learning objectives. So that part was not difficult either. So I was able to use the GCC information to also get my course approved for the global participation. So from there, other areas that we looked to for bringing in green chemistry was, besides the chemistry club, was to also change our textbook. We haven't narrowed down one textbook yet, but we're still discussing that as a department, but we do have plans to changing the current textbook that's being used to one that has green chemistry mentioned in it. We did take a look at chemistry for changing times, because that one, I'd already started using that on my own before, when I wanted to introduce a little bit of the idea of green chemistry to my students, maybe about 2 or 3 years ago. So that is one of the books that we're thinking of bringing in. Then the other area for green chemistry we looked for was just campus-wide communication and creating awareness on campus. So we created an intranet site for our green chemistry club. And it's basically a site where we post any upcoming events or anything related to the green chemistry conferences or anything related to green chemistry. We basically post them on the site or any other information that we have to share. A lot of times students really don't read their emails, so we try to not just email them these things, but to place them on this site where they can access at any time. Okay, so so again, this is just a repetition of what I had said earlier. The way we have implemented the green chemistry commitment in our department, and this is pretty much just a summary of all those items that I've mentioned before. So from there, the other things that we wanted to do was not only keep the GCC to ourselves in the chemistry department, we're looking to sort of go outside of this department and to include other departments in our collaborations, especially when it comes to faculty research. Like I said, many of the people in our department were already doing sustainable types of research projects. So we wanted them to use the green chemistry label in a lot of what they do. So for example, we had one colleague that wrote a paper and submitted to a green chemistry journal, and she's had that published within the last year. So we're really happy about that. And we're trying to encourage more people to actively seek to publish their work in green chemistry journals. Okay. So what has the GCC done for us here at Prairie? It's done a lot of things. As I said before, it's enabled us to get 2 new courses or 3 new courses approved so far. We've had faculty members that are publishing in green chemistry journals. It's opened up doors for even speaking at different events. Our students are getting more excited about green chemistry and want to know what they are. We've even attracted a lot of new students to our department with the 2 new courses that we have offered. Even though I need to add that the courses did get approved, but we ran into a little bit of logistical problems with getting the new courses covered by financial aid. So that was not something that we looked to, but again, it has nothing to do with the GCC. That's just something that's has to be sorted out on the ground here on campus. But like I said, the courses were approved in record time because we had so much help from the resources already present on the GCC platform. So student interest has also increased. I've also used one of our ideas that we did with the discussions with students on green chemistry has also helped us to publish a book chapter on our work here at Prairie View, transitioning our department through green chemistry. So we're really, really happy about that. And we're trying to actively increase those kinds of engagements. So that's basically all that I have, but I really want to say thank you to Beyond Benign, the GCC, and to Yale for all the help they gave us with the syllabus that we were able to use in getting our green chemistry course approved. And I want to also thank all the organizers for asking me to participate. So if there are any questions, I'd be happy to take those at the right time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrea. And thank you so much for your really comprehensive presentation and just for the opportunity to be able to listen to you talk about all the awesome work that you're doing. And I really personally liked the emphasis that you placed on really working with your student groups too. It is really nice to see that that connection as well. So I will actually just very quickly share my screen again, but we wanted to take this opportunity to invite all of you to ask questions either for Andrea after her talk or from the higher ed team at Beyond Benign as well. If some of you have questions that are kind of similar to some of the things that I've written on the slides here too, that's totally great. I just wanted to kind of put these questions here as maybe like a inspiration if you're looking for something to ask, but I would love to open up the floor here to any of you. So please do just raise your hand or unmute and jump in, or you can send a question to the chat too. Oh, excellent. Cool. Okay. I'll call on Chris first.
Hello. I just wanted to, so that was very exciting. I just wanted to mention that, like, everything that was discussed there was, we want to do that, or at least I want to convince everyone to do that at our institution. And so one of the first things, though, right, to get us focused was the student learning objectives. That's obviously a big deal at our institution and probably everybody's institution. And so I want to, begin by rewriting some of our student learning objectives, and I was wondering how I could implement the ones that you have. So I'm basically channeling this question that you have here. How do I implement the student learning objectives?
Yes, that's definitely a great question. I think I will actually hand this one off to Natalie because I know she has like the perfect answer for this one. So go ahead.
I don't know if I have the perfect answer, but I think this is the perfect answer we always have, is that everybody does it in their own way. So this may work completely different from your department than any example that we give you. But I do know that some have adopted them completely, that they take the student learning objectives that we have and those become theirs, or they take them and adopt them. So I don't know if Andrea, I know you mentioned this in using those student learning objectives. So I don't know if you have how you did this approach, if you want to speak to that. But I think everybody.
Okay. So for us, we already had some set by the department, so we didn't want to have too many. So we sort of, I basically just looked at all the ones that were available that I could quickly just add those. So it was probably only about 2 or 3 I added the first semester. But in the green chemistry class itself, I basically used everything. Right? So all of the available ones, I use those as they were in the green chemistry class. But in the general chemistry course, since our department already had some, I didn't want to delete any of those, even though we're sort of given a sort of free hand. So I didn't have to get anything approved in order to make those changes. So I literally just added 2 or 3 of the ones that were available that would fit in with our program.
Thank you.
I did want to quickly add to that too, that this program is not prescriptive. And so to kind of reiterate what Natalie was saying before too, is that we kind of want to support you in whatever way that you would like to do this, whatever is easiest for your institution. So you don't have to look at those kind of forced student learning objectives and think that you need to rewrite everything to kind of cater around those 4. It's more about kind of interweaving those principles and how we can help you do that. So please do know that also. There is a question actually in the chat that I quickly want to ask for Andrea, and then I'll get to you, Scott. So for Andrea, when you made changes to the textbook, who all in your department were responsible for that? Was that the course coordinator, the chair, or faculty independently? Kind of how did that work?
So for the textbook, I did on my own. It so happens that I was a person who made the textbook selection, or at least sent it into the bookstore. So I sort of had a free hand with that. So the way I sort of used the system was the one the department already had on record, I didn't remove, but we're able to add supplemental books. So I used the supplemental section to add the new book that I wanted, but most of my material came from the supplemental. So while the department's standard book was already there, I didn't remove that one. I just left it there, but most of my examples came from the one I used as a supplement. So that's one way of getting around making changes or taking a long time to have something you can use for your students.
Thank you. Okay, Scott, go for it.
Hi, everybody. My name is Scott Donnelly. I'm from Arizona Western College, which is a two-year community college in the southwest portion of Arizona on the Mexico border. So my question is with respect to curriculum development, which I'm interested in. You've developed a lot of curriculum, not to duplicate things, but what are you guys looking at that you need to develop more of? You know, case studies or a particular topic, and say, for example, general chemistry 1, general chemistry 2, OChem 1, OChem 2, etc. So I know it's kind of a loaded question, but basically, you know, I'd like to help out as much as I can with respect to filling in things that you've identified, at least for future type of active learning case studies, so on and so forth. So thank you.
So I can take that first, and then Natalie, if there's anything to add, I'll look to you. But essentially, I guess the short answer is that we're open to everything. We do have kind of resources that are outlined for general chemistry, inorganic chemistry, toxicology, and there was another one there. Did I say general chemistry? Yes. Okay. Some of the things that maybe for higher ed in particular that we, oh, thank you. Yeah, the organic guide as well. Some of the things for higher ed in particular that we don't have too much of right now do certainly revolve around kind of more of the polymer materials type area of green chemistry for sure. But in terms of how curriculum development works, we again are open to anything. And I did want to highlight that our resources are not like written by us. They are written and developed by educators that we do work with, who often are coming to us to say, like, we have this resource that we want to get out there and make it open access and like specifically for this type of class. So that being said, we are willing to work with you on whatever it is that you would like to kind of get out into the world. And I think that's kind of the beauty of working with educators who are actually doing the work and who are experts in actually implementing this into their courses, is that we really get to benefit from your knowledge in that way. So Natalie, I don't know if I missed anything. You can feel free to add on to that.
No, I think that definitely we're looking in terms of the GCC program, and the information we get from the signers helps us at Beyond Benign see the green chemistry education space and address those gaps. So that's definitely how we have aligned and decided, okay, we need a general chemistry, we need an inorganic one. It's the gaps we see from the signers that we have supplied them with the organic guide, and now they no longer have that gap. So what's the next frontier? I will say one thing that we continually hear is, how can you get those industry examples into that classroom atmosphere so the students see this real world application of these green chemistry skills that they are picking up out in the actual world, and also it connects them to the everyday world of chemistry being around us too. So if I was going to say one place, it would be case studies on bringing that industry technology into the classroom. I will say also that our hope is that the GCTLC platform that we'll be launching in 2023 will be the collaborative space to allow this to happen. So Beyond Benign a little bit is transitioning away from being the facilitators of the resource development to having this online space where the community can do it together. So we are hoping to host these kind of places. So Scott, I hope that you will join us over on the GCTLC and be an active member in that. And that really is so that people can share the work that they're doing outside of their institution. And I think Andrea highlighted this really well, is not only getting those connections within your chemistry department to make some change, but along your campus as well, and then even beyond that as well.
Yes. Okay, Scott, we'll come back to you. But I saw someone else raise their hand. Go for it.
Yeah, so I have a question regarding, like, how to start this, like, when you do this commitment, what sort of thing that, so for example, just to introduce some labs, green labs or something like that, or how long, how long we are given for that, like, when you start this commitment, like, say within first 6 months, you introduce a couple of labs or something like that. And also you mentioned that you have sort of general chemistry like labs are coming. So when it will be available, you have.
Okay, so this is an excellent question. I'm really excited to answer it. You can actually sign the commitment at any stage. So you don't have to be already like implementing green chemistry into your courses in order to sign. So I did want to make that clear that it's not like we look at your department and we're like, oh, he hasn't done enough green chemistry, we're not going to let him sign yet. No, please do like take any and all opportunities to fill those forms out and sign whenever you want. And then as for the integration of green chemistry into your curriculum, that's going to look really different depending on what kind of institution you're at and like your department and which educators are involved with green chemistry, right? So I guess the short answer to that is that we're willing to kind of work with you and help you on whatever kind of timeline you are able to integrate those resources into your curriculum. And I want to also highlight again the Green Chemistry Connections, those monthly virtual meetings. Often a lot of the conversation that happens there is between educators like yourselves who are either hitting roadblocks on like implementing green chemistry into a specific course, or maybe they want to share more resources. They bring a resource to kind of share with the community, or they ask the community, oh, do you have a resource for like this class? Has anyone kind of, you know, how have you approached XYZ with like this one class, etc. So that is also a nice place for you to be able to connect with people who are maybe at the same stage as you in your kind of green chemistry journey, and also learn some strategies from them about how they've done it. But again, the short answer is really like, you can do this at whatever kind of stage timeline you really want to. And it's kind of our job to help support you there and try and facilitate and make that as easy as possible. So again, you don't have to, you could sign it like this afternoon, even if you have no green chemistry at your institution. So just know that, please. And then I'll hand it off to Natalie to answer your question about the Gen Chem guide, because she is kind of the lead on that one. So.
No, you answered that wonderfully, Nim, and I will just add that the commitment in no way is a judgment of how you are implementing green chemistry, and we don't give you a timeline. We have signers that are the founding members of this commitment, so that we're going back to 2013, that may have done less than the ones that have joined us in 2019. And it's just because of the departmental, is the institution putting money behind this? Do you have somebody that's got a course release to really invest their time in this? And so it's more about progress than it is about hitting a certain goal in a certain amount of time. We do send out a yearly audit to understand what each department is doing, but our hope for that is that the institution itself will be able to look back each year and reflect on how they've progressed over time. I will also just quickly mention the guide is going to be coming out, and as soon as you are already on our email list, if you are here in this event with us, so it will come right to your inbox, but it's coming as soon as we can get it up on the website.
Thank you.
And there was another question in the chat too. And I want to say these are the types of questions too that we often get at the Green Chemistry Connections. So please do come and chat. But from Rebecca, which current green textbooks or green chemistry textbooks are people using for undergrad courses? So I don't know if anyone has kind of like a favorite that they would like to kind of highlight. I know, Juliana, you just highlighted one in the chat. So there is that one that you can take a look at, but if anyone else would like to answer, please do.
Yes, I can add. So as far as the textbook is concerned, like I said, my courses are first semester courses, so you still need the foundational chemistry. So I chose Chemistry for Changing Times, because it does have little sections in there with green chemistry. And that's what I've been using for about 2-3 years now. Even before we signed, I was already using that, and I found it very useful. To add a little bit to the previous question, when we signed, we had no green chemistry at all. I had no clue what I was going to do. I just knew that we had to sign something. So we signed the day after the meeting, and after that was when we decided, okay, what do we need to do based on the checklist we were given to remain in good standing? So I looked at those checklists and the list of items, the things that we could do right away. And those were the ones that I used to begin the process. So again, we didn't have any green chemistry. I just introduced a little bit in one of my personal classes. Um, I didn't get any departmental approval or anything. I was sort of a lone wolf on that one. So it's something that if you feel strongly about it and there isn't a lot of resistance in your department, it's something that you can do by yourself. Again, I only use simple discussions for my students, and I gave them a 10-point grade for responding to the discussion. So that's how we did that. It wasn't anything major that we did, no exams or any case studies. It wasn't anything like that. I just simply gave them a question that I downloaded from another website and asked them to respond to it. So it was really that simple.
Thank you. Before I get to you, Melanie, I just wanted to say that I do want to be respectful of people's time. So just knowing that we're kind of past the hour here, if you do have to jump off, that's totally fine. Thank you so much for coming. I'm like perfectly happy to stick around and continue with the Q&A. So please do feel free to stay and join us if you do have a little bit of time. But just know that this section is, I believe, being recorded. And so we will be releasing this afterwards too. So if you have to jump off here, you will still get the recording afterwards. Okay, sorry, over to you, Melanie.
Yeah, my question has to do with signing up as sort of an individual instructor versus getting your whole department on board, because from my institution, I'm from a fairly large community college in the Kansas City area, Johnson County Community College, and we have probably 12 chemistry faculty. And while there are a number that I think they would all be interested, but as far as making changes, that is really slow sometimes. And it's pretty easy to pilot things and then possibly get people to come along side with you after you've done the work and piloted it. And so my question is really, because I heard a lot of talking about departmental change, but as an individual instructor, I have control over what labs I do, even though we do have a lot of common things. We have people who prep labs for us. I do a lot of different things from the other instructors, like research projects. And so my question is, can we sign up as an individual instructor? Is that something that, without doing it departmental wise?
Yeah, so I think, yeah, I'll just quickly say something and then I'll let Natalie answer. But you touched on a really good point here, which is that currently the language on our forms is very, like get the chair of your department to sign and your department has to do this. This is kind of the feedback that we really love hearing from people like you, because we know that the commitment in itself is actually very, very flexible. And we want to give people the opportunity who maybe don't have these like structured chem departments necessarily, like with a, chair or whatever, to still sign and be on board. And so I'm going to actually now hand this off to Natalie, who can probably help to answer your question a little bit more thoroughly.
Not the first person to ask us that, and I would love to see an individual commitment. But I think too, we as individuals, you can commit to that, and I'd love to give you like a plaque of like go and do it. But as you do that, I guarantee you, people in your department will see what you're doing and follow your lead. And if they don't, your students will force them to, because what they will do is so and so does this in their class. Why don't you do it in yours? So starting and just doing it as an individual is absolutely great. And the commitment is really so that we have departmental change, because faculty members do tend to move a lot. And so that is why it is a departmental commitment, is to get everybody on board so that we see a change at an institution, and so that we don't have a bunch of people doing it individually. Of course, we want and need those people to be doing it individually, but the commitment is set up as a departmental approach to really shift an institution and the curriculum that they are teaching there. But in no way, know that we at Beyond Benign would be a supporter and amplify any of the work you are doing as an individual as well too through our program. regardless of whether you are a GCC signer. This is where like the connections, sharing your work through the connections is something that we would love to do. And there's many opportunities at Beyond Benign that are not connected specifically to GCC signers. So I hope that answers the question.
So do we have any last kind of questions? Okay, I think we can leave it there. Thank you so much to all of you for attending and for your attention and for the excellent questions and the discussion. It's really exciting to see how many of you are really, really engaged with green chemistry, and kind of makes us really excited that you are part of this community and that we get to connect with you and talk to you. So as a follow-up, these slides and the recordings will be made available to you. Please do reach out to any of us with any further questions that you have, or even if you would like to connect, please always feel free to message us for a one-on-one meeting or anything like that. We do hope to see you at the connections. We do hope to maybe have you as a speaker at the connections, so please also reach out about that. But for now, I believe I will leave it there. Thank you very much to Andrea as well for being our featured speaker today. It was really, really great to hear from you and to have you. And yes, again, thank you to all of you for your attention, and we'll catch you next time.